Tesla News Tonight is never financial advice. Tesla News Tonight is never voting or political advice. I had such a tough time. I couldn't go live until I changed the screen orientation. I wanted it to be horizontal. I said it about 300 times, didn't work, but I'm not going to give up. I'm doing it this way. So I got my Tesla talking points, and I got all my stuff on me. I got cups for the drinks. I'm gonna actually make a punch. See, I didn't want to just like be out of the screen the whole entire time I did this. I got the forks, so you can have their shepherd's pie I'm making. All right, I got a bunch of stuff. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna really try. I haven't made empanadas in the longest time. Now that I think about it, this is gonna be impossible for me to do. But I'm going to be talking about Tesla, Tesla short-term investing versus Tesla long-term investing. And if you know Tesla News Tonight, you know that Tesla News Tonight is a long-term Tesla stock investor. Yeah, this is like way too much for me to do at once now that I think about it. I'm not used to, usually when I'm cooking, I don't really talk to anybody. I'm like in the zone, just focused on my cooking, but I don't know. I'll see what I could do. The stream will probably end up being so long that maybe someone will actually tune in. That'd be great. I wanted to also have my phone plugged in. Now I have no idea. So who knows? Maybe it'll just crap out, battery will die, something like that. It could happen. It's live, right? Now, why would I be a long-term Tesla stock investor? Because although I do have a crystal ball, I don't really have a crystal ball, you know what I mean? So like, I don't know. I know that something is going to happen in the future, like say robo-taxis or, you know, really all of Tesla's AI endeavors. They'll pan out one way or another, by hook or by crook. Elon Musk will figure out a way to make it work. He'll pretty much know the best way to make the technology work, and he'll motivate his teams to, you know, get the job done. So I got my chicken, I got my jalapenos, I got my poblano, parsley, I got some garlic paste, I got some chopped cilantro. I'm gonna try to make like a hot sauce, so I'm gonna have to blend it all up. Then I realized I'm gonna have to do so much more actually, because I'm making shepherd's pie, so I have to cook up a whole ton of beef for that. I have a new place, so I don't even know where anything is either, which is just another fun part of this whole experience, I'd say. I literally don't know where I put things. This is weird. Huh. What the? Okay. Alright, I guess there's a change of plans. I'm gonna use a smaller pot to cook this. Oh, this probably is not gonna work. Yikes. Alright, so I'm just like ill-prepared for this whole thing, if I'm being honest with you. You know, it would help if I had some kind of help, but I don't have any help. Tesla News Tonight is a one-man band. I mentioned the robo-taxi rollout, right? For long-term Tesla stock investors. Even though it seems like the future's coming, and it seems like it's coming fast. I got my pepper and onion blend here. Got my balsamic marinade. Got my green goddess marinade that I'm going to use here. A lot of vegetables, Probably shouldn't have this on the stove in case I end up turning on one of these burners. And it'll also be the first time that I actually put something in the oven. I've never actually cooked anything in the oven. I've only used the stovetop so far. I got all my meat. Got my stir fry because I'm making steak empanadas. And then I got a whole load of ground beef because that's what I need to make my shepherd's pie. I'm making a pretty decent sized one too. I don't know if that pan looks big on the screen, but it's bigger than what I'm used to making. I was just gonna make regular old peas and carrots in the shepherd's pie, but I'm gonna try something different. I'm going with the green pigeon peas. I'll give it a shot. I think they'll appreciate it. Black beans for the chicken empanada I'm making with pulled chicken breast. And then I also got a 4-state cheddar cheese to go with that. Spinach, that'll be good for the salsa picante, the hot sauce that I'm making. And I'm gonna have to steam up some broccoli as well. This is gonna be an endeavor. I'm probably gonna end up just having to cut this off, to be honest, so that I can actually get my cooking done. Because what I'm doing is I'm cooking for my local community, and I'm just gonna be, handing out some free grub. Why not? Last Saturday, what I did was I made everyone hot dogs. I thought there were a lot of kids in the area. It turned out there weren't. So maybe Elon Musk is onto something with there not really being enough children. All right, well, I talked about Tesla stock, short-term investing versus long-term investing. You know that Tesla News, if you know who I am, Tesla News Tonight is a long-term Tesla stock investor. I mentioned the robo-taxi rollout, which is going to happen in just maybe a matter of hours, maybe a matter of days. Maybe it'll end up happening late. Maybe that June isn't like any kind of a deadline necessarily, but there's a rumor about June 12th, so who knows? Maybe June 12th is actually the day. I did mention Optimus Humanoid Robots and the Optimus Humanoid Robot rollout. I think like the second half of 2026 is when people would be able to actually buy Optimus Humanoid Robots. Who knows? I mean, that could just be a year and a day away, because technically June is the second half of the year, and a year and a day would be June 2026, the start of the second half of 2026. But I've been speculating up and down, saying on X and on Substack that, I had this feeling that gamers, like people that play video games, would be great to assist the robots and kind of like, if not supervise them, then actually teleoperate them with the use of just video game controllers or computer keyboards and stuff like that. It's already been done before with the rovers that have been on Mars. So, it's possible. So, there's a big time SpaceX opportunity, and even though these are Elon Musk companies, you're going to have some hardcore, teamwork, basically. Teamwork makes the dream work, they say. Tesla's going to, in this case, SpaceX is going to end up being a client to Tesla. SpaceX is going to end up paying Tesla for the Optimus humanoid robots, and they're going to basically do the boring, they're going to do the inspection, and ultimately the terraforming of the red planet, and then we'll have Planet B finally. And I don't know if anyone here knows about Rob Zombie, but he did a song, Mars Needs Women, Angry Red Women. So I just came up with Mars Needs Robots, Happy Tesla Robots. I don't know, corny, right? New, more affordable Tesla model was seen out in the wild. Next Big Future was speculating that it's actually like a shortened Model Y. And some people were kind of complaining that it would cannibalize Tesla Model Y sales. But, it's the best-selling car on the planet. The Juniper version, the new refreshed Tesla Model Y, is going to end up being the same thing. It's going to end up being the same best-selling vehicle model on the planet because it was already the best-selling model on the planet. Now it's even better. It's new and improved, and any kind of variations, like a condensed kind of version of a Model Y, will appeal to some people. So I don't really see it as cannibalization. I see it more as a differentiation of the same kind of model. I like this one. I like that one. I like this kind of smaller one. I like the normal one. What Tesla will keep selling the refreshed Model Y as is, I would imagine. So again, I don't really see it cannibalizing sales or anything like that. It'll just enhance the sales. Tesla, and also it makes it easier for the production, the manufacturing process, because it's going to be using a lot of the same parts. This is all speculation. A lot of it you could check out. Next Big Future was speculating on it on YouTube. He posted it on his X, and he also, yeah, and it's on his website as well. So Tesla has $37 billion cash in their pocket, ready to disperse for any kind of R&D ventures that they might want to take on, or any kind of huge new gigafactories that they might want to implement. And for what? For robots, for vehicles, for the solar, their Tesla Energy division, which is doing great, by the way. I think it was up like 154% year over year. And some of the naysayers are saying that that's it. That was the end of their growth for Tesla Energy, and I just don't see why. I mean, Australia is basically running off of Tesla Energy, and there are a lot of projects where it can really work, like deserts. And Elon Musk was just in Saudi Arabia speaking to some of the money masters in the Middle East, and there could be some ginormous projects in the works, and why wouldn't there be, honestly? Tesla ecosystem. That's a tough one. That's one that I want to actually get to in a future episode on my Substack, where I can really dive into it. I've covered it before, actually, in like a way earlier episode on my YouTube. I think for Rage Hall the band, I covered it as well. Tesla versus the world, where basically they can kind of get their hands in all these different cookie jars and kind of take some profits from a ton of these other different companies. Tesla's really like a new world order. Another thing that I've been saying since, I think, like the second AI day that Tesla presented. So the ecosystem is huge because of Tesla Energy. Robots is its whole. The humanoid robots are really its own business, because it's really taking on the global GDP eventually. Eventually, these things take time. These are inventions, because people make humanoid robots, but they don't make them like Tesla. They just don't. They don't have the intelligence, the real world intelligence, to go along with the functionality. And they have the best hands in the biz. And that is going to prove to be quite an extraordinary thing, because without these hands, I couldn't cook. Tesla News Tonight on Substack, I mentioned that already. I would really appreciate the subscriptions, because, well, it'll help motivate me to keep on doing what I'm doing, pump out all the episodes that I do on Substack. I'm trying to do multiple a day. It's difficult because I work full-time and all that kind of stuff, but I'm obsessed with Tesla. I'll just say it. I mean, I'm a Tesla shill. Okay, 48-hour Tesla test drives are free and available to the public, in case you didn't know. I was thinking of taking advantage of that, because my idea is to use any of my return on investment from being a Tesla stock investor to buy a vehicle, or eventually maybe a fleet of Tesla vehicles, of course, with FSD, and use it as a ride-hailing vehicle, so that I can then create revenue, generate enough revenue, and buy more Tesla stock, and then maybe buy more vehicles, or by then, hopefully, the humanoid robot. Maybe I'll get myself some Optimi. Going back to the stock, there are certain Fibonacci levels. I think there's one at like $365, and then something weird like $440, somewhere around there. I mean, then after that, it's like 800. So that's definitely something I want to take advantage of. So for me, the time is now. Of course, the stock can definitely drop. That's what a lot of, I call them naysayers, really, because they're always out and about on social media and whatnot, or on their doing their tippy typing, writing up their crummy articles or whatever. And I always just see through all the noise. That's usually what it is with haters, and they have a lot of the same lines that they deliver when it comes to the negativity towards Tesla, especially just directly at Elon Musk, as if he's literally running around doing everything. Oh, but wait, at the same time, Elon Musk isn't able to focus on Tesla when he's doing some work for Doge. And it's not like that ever stopped, in case you saw the Musk and Trump press conference today. So what does the future hold? Yeah, Musk and Trump are still friends. That relationship still seems solid. The government and global geopolitics are a bit of a tricky thing. Elon was even asked, "What's more difficult? Landing rockets on Mars and terraforming it for humans to live on, or dealing with government?" And he said, "Well, it's kind of close, but I'll say that the Mars expedition is going to be more difficult." Of course, but honestly, seriously, not by much, right? All right, so yeah, that was Musk and Trump today. Musk is still going to be advising Trump. Like I said, they're still friends, so they're still going to have their communications. Trump has definitely laid out a lot of plans. It was a great thing in hindsight that he basically had 4 years off from being president and just kind of marinating, just simmering, so to speak, where he was able to really hash out some more plans, dig up a lot more information, formulate some great teams. And the Gateway Pundit put it out a while ago, and I was posting it originally on my Truth Social. Like, this is ginormous. These guys, when I listened to these two guys, and this was however long ago now, it must have been at least a year ago at this point, when the Gateway Pundit article came out, and I was looking for other sources that were putting this out. Nobody was talking about this. Nobody was talking about it. Like, Elon Musk meets with Trump and GOP leaders at Mar-a-Lago, and I'm thinking, so you got all these big money dudes and chicks. You got Trump and you got Musk, and they're in the same room. And I've heard these gentlemen both speak individually. Of course, at that time, no one's heard them speaking together. They weren't seen with each other publicly that I know of before this meeting with also GOP members. The Grand Old Party. That's what GOP stands for. That's the Republican Party. Now it's really just MAGA, right? And Dark MAGA is even more hardcore. But anyway, they're so alike, and they both make such incredible deals, and they both formulate the best teams. And I think Musk surpassed Trump per se, but at this point, Trump is formulating one of the greatest teams. And honestly, because of that fact, it's actually making me realize just how difficult government really is. And it's all just government sludge. It's all just a bunch of bureaucratic red tape. And it's really unfortunate, honestly, because if we could cut through all of that red tape much more quickly, get some of these old bigwigs out of the way, we would just see prosperity throughout humanity. It wouldn't just be in the United States of America, it would be global. But it's unfortunate that that's the way it is. And it was, kind of tongue-in-cheek, I think, that the reporter even asked the question, but it was good that she asked, I have to say. But as far as the bigwig Wall Street money masters, Vanguard is now for Tesla, and they're going to give Tesla shareholders opportunity to proxy vote in upcoming Tesla votes. So that's definitely going to be a big one. It's just really imperative that if you are an investor in Tesla stock, that you do make your voice heard. Of course, whenever you can vote, I think that it's good to vote. But like I say, right off the top, I said it, Tesla News Tonight is never investment advice. Tesla News Tonight is never financial advice. Tesla News Tonight is never voting or political advice. Let's go back to the robo-taxis here because that's coming up soon, right? Most likely, hopefully, right? Robo-taxis are going to be worth minimum 30 grand a year, if you're using it for ride sharing. And it could be worth up to 100 grand a year if you're, really driven to dole out those rides to people. Well, you're not really doling them out. They're paying you, but you know what I mean. And the Model Y is the most successful when it comes to FSD because it's the most popular vehicle, so it has the most data. But I don't see anybody complaining. I mean, I don't know if you saw on X, that dude in that Cybertruck, it looked like a real video to me, and people were posting it left and right about this, I'll say gentleman, maybe a bit of a dum-dum, but he was kind of crazy to play Grand Theft Auto 5 while the Cybertruck drove on the highway. And he was in the left lane, which is typically the fast lane too, right? He was passing people up while shooting people in the video game and blowing up cars and stuff. Quite interesting, quite entertaining, highly dangerous, not recommended. Tesla makes it quite clear in about a one-page contract that you're supposed to read and agree to not do stuff like that and remain attentive and be the supervisor of the vehicle. But if that video is real, it's a testament to just how good full self-driving is already in its supervised state. But I mean, we're seeing it anyway. We're seeing all sorts of people doing ride sharing. And there's a guy on X, JC, that does rides out of Texas. And, recently his vehicle, his Tesla, avoided some potholes. He was stunned. The passengers saw it. They knew what was up. There are all sorts of people. I watched a guy on YouTube that just recently just happened to find him, and he drives people around in his Cybertrucks, and people are amazed. Some people don't even realize that the vehicle is driving itself, and he brings it to their attention. I guess some people are more impressed by it than others. I notice that a lot though, like where I work, I get negativity, so I'll work with vehicles, and I had somebody come in with a Tesla, and I mentioned full self-driving. I said, "Oh, cool. Is this yours? Or are you, just driving this in for someone else?" And he said, "No, it's mine." So I said, "Oh, great. Cool. That's a nice car. I like it. So do you have FSD, full self-driving?" And he said, "Well, like autopilot?" And I was like, no, not exactly, but okay. So he didn't even know about it. Most people don't even know about it. I mentioned it to another coworker, and she said she wouldn't trust it. I think that's how a lot of people feel, but they're just kind of like, to me, humanoids, so to speak. Shout out to Bobby the Brain Heenan. They're just kind of like humanoids to me in a way, because they don't really have their ear to the ground, their finger on the pulse, as I always like to say. They're not really with it. They're not doing their research. Now that gets me to Tesla being aces. A number one, Ichiban, because that's what I want to invest in all reality. Like Jim Cramer would do a segment, "Am I diversified?" Well, Tesla has their own ecosystem, so they are diversification, in my humble estimation. And none of this is advice. I'm no kind of professional. I can't even get to cooking because I couldn't cook and do this at the same time. And you probably appreciate this more because you most likely wanted to hear the Tesla talk. I don't know. Maybe if I get to take some pictures of people enjoying my food tomorrow, then I'll post it or whatever. But I doubt I'll even be able to take pictures. I'm going to be busy reheating stuff and all that, because my plan is to prepare the empanadas, throw them in the fridge so I could just oven bake them tomorrow. I'm going to cook the shepherd's pie because, quite like lasagna is, it's much better the next day. So just kind of flash cool the shepherd's pie after I bake it, and then reheat it and serve that up tomorrow. So I think I'm just gonna stick with y'all here. I appreciate the people that are here checking this thing out. I'm doing my best for all of you. I'm actually much more inclined to do my Substack, because I can, read all of my paperwork that I have in front of me. I'm crazy with like post-it notes all over the place. I always have like mad notes all over the place, but it kind of helps me disseminate everything so I could give you a better product. And a lot of times I'm just shooting off at the cuss off the top of my head because I'm obsessed with this stuff. I'm doing at least 60 hours of video research a day, reading 20 to 40 hours. No, not a day, a week. I'm sorry, 60 hours of that would be pretty cool. 60 hours of video research a week. I'm doing 20 to 40 hours of reading research a week. All right, but let me move on. Model S, Model 3, Model X, Model Y, Cybertruck, Semi, Cybercab, Robovan, and more affordable models. So there are going to be multiple more affordable models. And then maybe one day we'll actually get the Roadster too. That would be pretty cool. Tesla stock market cap growth from about 1 trillion to 5 trillion would be what? Maybe robo-taxis? Because the value of the vehicles could see a 5x increase. Robots, some people say, are worth maybe about 25 trillion. Tesla could get a lot of that total addressable market as well. We know when it comes to robo-taxis that they're going to dominate because, I mean, honestly, like, you can combine Waymo, Uber, and Lyft. And maybe right now they're above where Tesla is, but these companies like Waymo's been around for like 16 years or something like that. Tesla's really just getting involved in the game. But what the naysayers like to say is that Elon Musk has been promising this for 10 years. Well, bucko, just wait until something actually happens. Then it happens. It's innovation because Tesla's doing this autonomous driving in a different way, a way in which Elon Musk thinks is going to actually succeed, not to mention the scalability of Tesla actually being a manufacturer of vehicles. So they can mix the software and the hardware, and just like that, it happens. So I mean, what kind of market cap are we going to see? And then what kind of effect will that have on global GDP when Tesla literally usurps cash from just about everywhere because of their ecosystem, because of the energy? I saw a post on X, a Tesla Cybertruck owner that recently had a power outage, and he stated that he didn't even notice he had a power outage because his vehicle was plugged into his house. I didn't even know that Tesla was already doing the bi-directional charging. I mean, this is how incredible Tesla is, really. The news is getting pumped out left and right. It's hard to cover them. It's exciting as can be. I mean, it might even be a little bit frightening. You know, some people are definitely afraid of artificial intelligence and what humanoid robots will eventually be able to do. You know, you have to take the good with the bad. The future is going to come one way or the other. So it's better to be prepared for it in your own little way, you know, whomever you might be. Okay, so I didn't check it in a little while. It was kind of fluctuating even in the after hours, but Tesla stock was down anywhere from about 3.1% to 3.4%. But I also noticed recently, like maybe just for the last few days or so, but it's been kind of rolling out slowly, like how the Dinosaur Media does this. If you don't know what Dinosaur Media is, it's legacy or mainstream, but it's Dinosaur Media because, you know, they're about to be extinct. So anyway, they've kind of been slowly rolling out this positive feed of stories, or a feed of positive Tesla stories. Like, oh, these investors are sticking with Tesla. You know, they love to tell you when Cathie Wood or Kimball Musk, Elon's brother, sells, but, you know, they typically have to sell. So, like, Kimball's sale was planned, and you could also say the same for Cathie Wood. She runs a fund, and her holding of Tesla stock within that fund can't be too high. So, see, that's like when they're talking about Tesla, and they're bad-mouthing Tesla, but in the article, and the headline, of course, you'll just see Elon Musk, Elon Musk. They want to personalize it and try to make you hate an individual, because if you're just a humanoid, that's all they want to do. They just want to give you one person to look at, one person to hate. Makes it easier for, someone that doesn't want to think about it as much, wants the convenience of being spoon-fed their information and news. So they're lying. The dinosaur media is lying. They're still talking about any kind of positive stories that they can spin. And the one that they love to keep saying is how Elon Musk is dropping out of Doge. Like, we knew on May 30th it was over. Oshimaida. That was it. It was over. So, like, that wasn't news. We knew that from day one because we knew the amount of days, whatever it was, 130 days or something like that. So you could literally mark your calendar. I read an article that wanted to actually give Tesla a bit of a positive spin and say, mark your calendar for June 30th because that's when the robo-taxis are going to roll out. And that's pure speculation. They admit it in the first paragraph. And then they go on to badmouth Tesla basically throughout the entire article, and then kind of randomly mention the robo-taxi. Well, not really randomly, but randomly give you a positive spin within the last paragraph and mention the humanoid robots. Like, just throwing that out there. Humanoid robots too. I don't know. It's quite incredible what they're doing. I'm noticing that, that I guess you would call them like the left wing, whatever. Like MSNBC is still going to be against Elon and all that. But when it comes to the financial side of the NBC, sister program channels, they're not all against Elon and Tesla, because actually, like, a lot of the financial news on CNBC has been pretty positive. They're not getting a lot of the naysayers. So I don't know what to say about that. Does that mean that there's a buying opportunity coming? Perhaps. Because I think what the dinosaur media will do is now they'll start rolling out all of these positive stories, telling you all of a sudden Tesla's good. I really think that they just want to bank on new people that are, new to the news, new to researching Tesla. Maybe they're looking for some kind of new opportunity or what have you. So they want to figure out what company would be good to invest in. And now all of a sudden, these maybe humanoids or maybe they're just newbies start seeing these Tesla articles and they start wondering if this is actually a good opportunity, which kind of makes me think that perhaps some of the analysts that are saying Tesla stock could see a downturn soon could be true. Again, nothing I say is ever investment advice or anything like that. I always just try to have my dry powder ready. And I literally have my pennies, nickels, and dimes over there with which I use to invest in Tesla stock. Dollar cost averaging, known as DCA, is pretty much the way that a lot of people throughout X and on YouTube even constantly, drill out there. They're always putting that message out there that I dollar cost average. And a lot of these people are Teslaonaires, meaning that they've made millions of dollars off of Tesla stock already, yet they still just want to do it in this simple way. Others, of course, want to use, more risky methods like leaps and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. I think I just want to kind of keep it simple because I can actually predict a longer term trajectory better than a shorter term trajectory. That way my projection, I can feel very convinced and extremely confident that I will be correct. I just can't give you a 3-month window of most of these things. I mean, even the robotaxi. Okay, Elon Musk said it's only going to be 10 vehicles. We're already seeing a heck of a lot more than just 10 vehicles driving around autonomously currently. So, yeah, it seems quite evident that it is an inevitability and it will happen. Nevertheless, there could be certain kind of delays. It could strike a curb. One of these, Tesla robotaxis could strike a curb and then, oh no, the news goes crazy. But the news goes crazy doesn't mean that the company has faltered or slipped up. You have to realize that. You have to, cut through the noise and actually, hear the signal, see the reality of the situation. It's quite simple to me. Yeah, I don't think I could. would not have been able to cook while doing most of this stuff. So that was kind of a terrible idea. But when I cut this off, I'm gonna get to my food prep and my cooking, and yeah, then it will. That'll be a lot better. That'll be a lot better, especially for the audio of this whole broadcast that I got going on. So we covered Tesla stock, short term versus long term. Like, where's Tesla stock going to be in 3 months? Going back to what I was just talking about, the short term versus the long term, and seeing it for what it is. I mean, yeah, it's a lot easier for me to maybe look like 10 to 15 years in the future. Okay, so how long is Optimus humanoid robot going to take to be functional? Like, how, if you're trying to think this out, how long is it? I see what Tesla Optimus humanoid robot is doing in factories now. I'm sure that there's a lot of stuff that they're not showing us. Is that a lot more advanced than what we're seeing? Elon mentioned that the robots need to play like children in order to learn. That tells me that the robots have already been training like children, using toys and whatnot, and then that reinforcement learning process for at least 6 months, maybe a year, maybe even a year and 6 months. There was even a video that Dr. Know-It-All did with Scott Walter where they were speculating that they were seeing the Optimus humanoid robots at the SpaceX factory doing certain what you might call menial tasks, and I don't see why not. When the I don't even think it was the newest generation, the generation before, which I guess would be generation 2 of the humanoid robot, was already mapping out, I guess I like to call it like the Tesla campuses, because I mean they have obviously gigafactories, ginormous factories with luscious land all over, parks, roads, bridges. So I mean, this thing could be going all over the place. You might have seen the Tesla Optimus slipping on some wood chips as it was walking downhill, and to its credit, bravo, it stayed on its feet. Like, insane. And the hands are really where it's at. So it'll be able to do a lot of tasks that only human beings can do. We got the, what is it called, posable thumb or whatever. That'll be just ginormous. And even maybe like one level above what humans can do, because they have like 22 points of movement or something to that effect. I don't know. I don't remember right now. That's why I like when I have my notes with me. So the Robotaxi rollout is coming. I just want to reiterate on that because that's going to take some time. But the big thing that I hear a lot is just getting the butts in the seats. And that really is it. It really is just a matter of getting people to actually give it a shot. Yeah, why not? I mean, what if this thing drives me off the road? Maybe they need someone younger or maybe just more inclined to this modern innovative technology to get like a family member or friend into the vehicle. They experience it. They have a zero intervention ride. They get to their destination A-OK. All right, that wasn't so bad. That was actually pretty safe. I liked how back on the highway there decided not to pass that one guy because he was driving erratically, and it sees stuff like that. And it's like developing what looks like a video game on the screen when you actually look at the screen of these Teslas when they're in the full self-driving mode, mapping everything out. It's quite incredible in all reality, and I don't think a lot of people understand the vision that Tesla has and the mapping that the Tesla vehicles have already done. It's just tons of data. And Tesla has used simulation as well, which could definitely help with any edge cases that may or may not have already happened in reality, which is something outlandish, really. Like, things that you can't even imagine, like naked people running out in the middle of the street with dogs on long leashes or something like crazy like that, and then a lightning bolt strikes a tree and it's falling at such an angle. Just things that you really have to dream up it in order to even conceive it happening in reality. But things like this happen. They are edge cases, but I think that's where the simulation comes into play. I mean, the neural nets, like, we know about neural networks, right? Like Terminator, it's a learning computer. It learns, brother. It's it's not what we have at like Boston Dynamics when you compare the robots. It's not what Waymo has when you compare the cars. It's a different technology. It is a true innovation. I believe it is going to work because the proof is in the pudding, or maybe the pudding's in the proof. I don't, in this case, I don't know, because we're seeing the videos left and right. People are posting them. Tesla's posting the videos of what the humanoid robot can do. You know, we're seeing it do some simple tasks like stirring up the pot of stir fry. Maybe it's about to knock the pot, off of the stove top, but it's only going to get better. They call it Optimus because it is going to continue to optimize. And at some point, it will optimize past the point of human efficacy. So there's something to be said for that. Yeah, and that's dangerous too. And people like to say, "Oh, you're gonna, lose your job, going back to work, and going back to I was talking about my job and how a lot of the people, if not all the people I work with, have like 0 to 1%, no, literally like less than 1% understanding of what Tesla does, even though they see some of the videos, but a lot of what they're going to receive in their feeds are the negative videos and even just straight up fake videos, because there are plenty of them out there on YouTube where you have someone, that's not doing what I'm doing. I'm speculating things. I'm looking out into the future. I'm projecting, like, forward progress of certain technologies that Tesla has. But you have some people on YouTube that are just saying straight up, like, Tesla's building houses now. They are? I mean, yeah, maybe one day. I don't know. They have, they know how to do HVAC, and they're doing research and development on that. But yeah, I don't think they're making houses, man. But you have certain crazy videos out there where people are saying certain things like that. So I don't know. I talked about the humanoid robot opportunity is insane because going back to Mars, that'd be nice. The humanoid robots don't have the same kind of dangers that we have. I mean, I've gone deep into this, like comparing the SpaceX Starship full of Optimus humanoid robots to a slave ship being full of slaves, because that's basically how the robots are going to be packed in there. The only difference is that this is humane. Yes, it's full of intelligence that came from people that trained it, but fortunately, these are just tools. They are just robots. I mean, we can love them or whatever. I would like to think that I'll be my robot's friend, but it's different because it's not a human being, right? It might even be better than a human being, but I will not value it in the same way. So it'll be, what I mean to say is it'll be a significant relief of sacrifice to not have a ship full of human beings go to Mars. And it is kind of important to get over there because all of all of these different space technologies, all of this above and beyond kind of research and development that NASA has kind of fumbled. They haven't really done a great job. Trump is trying to get Space Force going, so maybe NASA will do a better job when it comes to that. But it's really SpaceX that is having the success with actually launching all of these satellites. Like, I don't know, 95% of the satellites are SpaceX. Don't quote me on that statistic. I don't quite remember that. But when you look at a map, they have one online that I saw where you have all the companies that have launched rockets and released satellites into space. And when you when you when you have SpaceX unclicked, it's this very sparse kind of array of satellites, and it looks like, oh, that's cute. And then you click on SpaceX, and it is suddenly seemingly covered, and you can hardly see Earth. It's hard to believe because you can't even see them up there, right? But SpaceX is dominating when it comes to that. They're doing like sometimes multiple launches a day of multiple satellites that are going up into space, like anywhere from 23 to 54. I read article after article about that going on. So anyway, one day the Starship, it might take the next generation to get there, but who knows? It might just be one more iteration of the Starship for it to be able to actually get to the red planet. And what better use of the robots than terraforming that planet? Yeah, I mean, there are great uses on Earth as well. I mean, it'll be great in the old folks' homes. Everyone says that it's going to go to the big time manufacturers first. And yeah, I get that. And that probably will be the case because if you compare the robot launching, as an actual buyable product to when Tesla had to launch the Roadster, which they were intelligent of, for doing so. They were able to get these big margins. It was a big ticket item, and I like to call them the Richies. And you might just say they're kind of pioneers. They have the dough and they love the technology. So hey, hats off to them, right? I got no hate on that because actually they give Tesla the big margins, and then Tesla is able to use that money to do more research and development. They're able to bring down the cost of future vehicles. But in this case, it would be the robots. Hopefully, though, the robots will be as competent no matter what. Hopefully, Tesla doesn't have to make like a cheaper robot for people to just buy for home use and things like that. Because, I think it would serve an even better purpose at like old folks' homes and hospitals. Definitely for farming and landscaping, it would be a lot better. Definitely for trash collection and just overall like cleaning up the earth, it would actually be quite an endeavor. And going back to the cash that Tesla has in pocket, $37 billion in cash is a lot of research, a lot of development, a lot of new products. And what Tesla continues to do is make a new product that is, in essence, a new company. Like, I call it Tesla Energy because it's basically its own company. It's a whole other dinosaur. It's a whole monstrosity of a thing in and of itself. With solar, you have the panels, and then you have the actual solar roof, which I don't know if they're doing too well with that, but everyone is buying the Powerwall. They have the auto bidder. It's great for home usage. You just use the Tesla app. Everything really comes together on the Tesla app. So that'll most likely be where you will be able to do the ride sharing if you own Tesla full self-driving and you want to actually make some money, sharing the vehicle and picking up rides. You won't have to be in the vehicle. It'll be easy peasy. I was doing some Instacart with my brother, and I was kind of getting a feel for the app. He was going through the app. He was really professional. Oh, this isn't good. If he could just kind of do it in his head. I'm gonna make this much of a tip, this many items, this distance, and then most likely I won't really get a job on the way back. This one's not worth it. No. And he could do it quick. Therefore, he would be able to see new jobs pop up. And he was also really diligent in doing that work for Instacart. So he was picking up jobs left and right. And, he came by my place. I live somewhere different now. But he was in a new environment, a new area. And within 2 days, not even really, like within that first day, he was already getting the hang of it. He already knew basically the best location to go to. So we would be able to do multiple drives without having to always take that trip back from point B to point A. So it was really, really awesome. It was a really good experience. And I see how that would work if you were doing ride hailing for, using your Tesla as a robo-taxi. It would be incredible because you'll be able to just, sit at home, maybe be with the family. You can be out and about. And as long as you could pull up that app, as long as your phone is charged and you have the app up, you'll be able to see, oh, you know what? I could pick up Ted. Ted is only 3 blocks away from Mary, or where I'm going to drop off Mary. So once I drop off Mary, I should be able to pick up Ted. Oh, and then you know what? There's a delivery, and maybe I'll go to the store. They load up the car, close the door. I take it to somewhere, and then they approach my vehicle, open the door, take out their package or whatever, and close the door. And now I could, pick up another person, which is something, that would be incredible too. I wouldn't even mind being in the vehicle for that. if I had to actually go into the store, pick up items, fill up the car, and then take it to, say, someone's house or a business or somewhere, and then, get out of the car with the packages and actually deliver them on foot to the door, no big deal. No big deal, because that whole time, maybe if the app is set up in a certain way, I'll be able to set up my next ride and then my next ride. And I think that if the app has, really really good efficiency, then it'll be incredible, because then people will be able to map it out that way. Anyone that's using it for ride hailing, or anyone that is expecting a delivery from a robotaxi, will have an immediate estimated time of arrival. It'll bring down the ETAs, because if you're, selecting multiple rides one after another, whether it is a ride or a delivery or whatnot, then it'll bring, the fact that you'll be able to set them up kind of like a character in Warcraft, where you could say, okay, chop down these trees, and when you're done chopping down those trees, demolish this building. After you demolish that building, go to war with the guys over there. And, you can literally just dictate its next however many moves, and you don't even have to look at that creature or that person again, and they're going to do that task, then the next task, then the task after that, just as you assigned it to. So I think that would be a great way to be able to use the robotaxi. But see, now I'm speculating. I'm speculating. But if I could think of it, I think that basically, like, the smartest money-making serial entrepreneur on the planet could think of something way better. More importantly, he could implement it. More importantly, he could motivate a team. He could assemble a team of the best and brightest people on the planet and motivate them to succeed in such a mission. So it's going to be a huge revenue generating opportunity for investors, for entrepreneurs that want to use their vehicle as a robotaxi. It's going to be great for people that need rides and need deliveries. Some people are in great need for these things. It's going to make the planet a better place in even just a small way, but I don't see how it won't. So yeah, I basically went over everything. I'm just so, I don't know what to really ping pong and bounce off of next and really talk about. But let me see here. Can you have a shout out? Yeah, Sadie, what's up? Sadie, what's up? James, if you're still on there, and Pix, hello. Pretty cool. Thanks a lot for joining. So definitely check out my Substack. I'd appreciate if you pay me, subscribe, because it's only $70 a year, and that's like, I don't know, 40 cents a day, 35 cents a day, some weird and wacky small number like that. But your pennies, nickels, and dimes going towards me will definitely motivate me to produce and pump out a lot more episodes. And I don't like to just do little episodes about like one piece of news necessarily. I always like to look at the broad spectrum, because I'm constantly connecting the dots. And I do a lot of speculation, and I don't mind being wrong, because I get to see where I'm wrong, and then see how the company went in a different direction. And then that's exciting to me. It's usually exciting to be wrong, because then you're like, ooh, here we go. All right, so I thought left, they went right, and now what are they going to do? We've seen that plenty of times before, and that's really how, kind of like the Trojan horse, Tesla was able to say, yeah, we got a car, we're just a car company, and the dinosaur media just ate it up, and they just constantly said it again and again and again. And even the recent Tesla stock seller, well, his fund, Gary Black, sold out of all of his remaining however many shares, probably less than I have right now. And, you have the whining and complaining Ross Gerber. I don't even like to mention the negativity. There's no point to it, because it's not negativity with a bunch of intelligence behind it. It's negativity with hate behind it. And if I'm going to choose an emotion, I'd rather choose love. I'd rather choose optimism, to be honest. Because at least if I'm wrong, I could just walk away whistling and say, well, I was wrong. So what? I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. That's why I have no problem speculating or anything like that. You can write down anything that I say. I try to keep track of when I'm telling you an actual fact, and I hope you can pick up on when I'm speculating on something. I think I put it in context of speculating, as far as the app and being able to plan out multiple rides and stuff like that. So yeah, that was just me speculating on something like that. But I think of it because of efficiency, and Tesla would want something like that. They will probably have an even brighter and better idea, and that's absolutely fantastic. And that's why I'm the investor and I'm not running or working for this company, which, like I said, it's an ecosystem. It's a bunch of different companies in all reality, with Tesla Energy, the vehicles, the humanoid robots, HVAC. They even were doing research and development on eVTOL's electric vehicle takeoff and landing devices. Maybe that's more for like a Mars mission though, because now I can't think of the name of it, but they were able to actually use an eVTOL on Mars, and it worked kind of okay. It wasn't Perseverance, that was like the wheelie one, but they had a sort of like a helicopter for Mars as well. We're robots have already taken over Mars. So just note that. With SpaceX and their satellites, the latency is going to be that much better. What they used to do with NASA is, tippity type all this information to the robot, like Perseverance, for example, and then Perseverance would do that, whatever those whatever missions were dictated for it to do. The thing is that NASA would do this at the end of the night, from what I understand, based on a documentary. Go home, go to sleep, wake up, go back to work, and then the Perseverance would be beginning the tasks that they had set for it the night before because of low or slow latency, or a lot of latency, I guess you might say, as opposed to what it could be for Optimus. Could be down to, I think Elon Musk was saying, only 22 minutes as opposed to hours. And the more satellites you get out there, the less latency you're going to have. And Neuralink works on latency as well. So these teams work together. They bounce around from company to company. So if you're not trying to connect these dots, then you're probably not thinking at all like Elon Musk. And if you're not thinking at all like the techno king of the company, then you're probably missing out big time, I would say. 48-hour Tesla test drives. Get those butts in those seats. Give a loved one or a friend or even maybe a random stranger, if you're allowed to do that, a ride, and put in FSD. Tell them, hey, look, hands off the wheel. How are we making this right turn right now? This thing's driving itself. I don't know. It's a big, bold, bright, better future that's awaiting us. So I just hope that you're ready for it. Honestly, if I'm being honest about it, yeah. When a robotaxi can make you 30 grand a year, you can pay off the car in, just over a year, maybe 2 years or so. If you're really working diligently as a robo-taxi ride hailer, you can make up to, it's been speculated on that you can make about 100 grand with your vehicle. So, I mean, even if you were working hard, well, what kind of hard work are you doing when it's like a cybercab, say, robo-taxi? I mean, you're not really, in the future when it comes, you're not really working that hard because you're not sitting in that driver's seat dealing with all of the arduous traffic. It's not nearly as much of an ordeal for you. If the deliveries out of a robotaxi, if they could figure out how it can be done without the driver needing to be in the vehicle to actually, do those last footsteps to, deliver it to the door, then you're really looking at an even bigger opportunity with that. Because eventually it's going to, it'll be in all of the models. The S, the 3, the X, the Y, the Cybertruck, the Semi, the Cybercab, the Robovan, and the more affordable models, which apparently we've seen one of those already. Now, the Semi is like a business in and of itself. I would like to think that if if Tesla robotaxis were good enough to drive on the roads of, say, India, right?
then that would be an incredible testament to the full self-driving capabilities. If a Tesla Semi is able to drive on some of these mountainous roads in, say, South America, then it is going to take over. Where, say, the owner of a trucking company can now own a fleet and actually drive, or he's not even supervising, really just dictate what multiple cars, or in this case, multiple semis in his fleet or her fleet is actually going to do. It's a huge opportunity, a huge money-making opportunity. The more affordable models, I don't think will cannibalize any of the car sales. It'll just differentiate them. It'll just spread them out, so to speak. But I think that if it's a different variation of a Y, it's still under the Model Y sales. And car sales aren't going to be as important in the future anyway. It's going to be about miles traveled. When people don't have to drive their own vehicle and they can fall asleep in the vehicle, they will be much more inclined to do things like go on road trips. This will actually even take away from the airline businesses, because people would rather just sit in the car with their family and go across the country. We don't have to worry, like, say, husband and wife or whatever, they don't have to worry about deciding who is actually going to drive which leg of which part of the country. The car is going to drive itself with robo-taxis. And I say that it's not about sales so much because somebody can rent the robo-taxi for even a road trip. So the possibilities are endless. Most people are just, probably going to use it for work or whatever, typical, I would say, would be work that people would use the robo-taxi for. And that's pretty great too, because somebody might get sleepy behind the wheel on the way back from work and they don't want that happening to themselves anymore. So they're going to be loving that robo-taxi ride on the way back. All right, I'm going to wrap this thing up. I wish you all peace, love, and prosperity. I got to get to cooking. All this food I have has been just sitting out here in the kitchen. But yeah, I got to get to work because it's late too. So I want to actually cook for my community. I'll be serving it up. Like I said earlier on, if I get to take any kind of pictures of the food that I'm going to be serving up for free for my community, then I'll post them somewhere, probably on X, maybe here on YouTube, on Substack. And again, pay me. Only $70 a year for a subscription. A 1 year, $70. That ain't that bad. And that's going to ensure that I pump out a whole bunch more podcast episodes. And that's going to definitely motivate me and inspire me to keep on doing what I'm doing. I'm just obsessed with Tesla. I'm just trying to spread the good word about a great company and the best and brightest individuals on the planet that work for Elon Musk. All right. Later.